Alright guys, what's up? Welcome back to Game Developers Club. Let's start off, anybody have any questions about anything at all? About game development, video games, life, love, happiness? Okay, then let's kind of jump into it. So today, I know last week we ended club saying that I was going to do something in Blender today, kind of give a quick little rundown. I might still do that, but on my way to club today, Art and I were talking a little bit about our crafting menu and different ways to implement that. And I'm gonna write something up here on this board. Let's see if you guys can follow along, and then we'll kind of see how that works. It's just kind of an idea for how we're going to implement our crafting. So originally we had it to where it was all going to be super GUI based. It was going to be everything's going to be done in some kind of GUI, and we would have like an inventory pane, right? We'd have some kind of mouse. That doesn't work. We'd have like some kind of inventory, and that'd have like little inventory slots. Then you pick these up and you bring them over into your GUI pane, and then you build your object of whatever type that is. And then you bring them over and kind of drag and drop. So we were talking today, I had this great idea, which I second, that what if in the world when you're walking around and you see an object, instead of picking that up and having it go into your inventory, you just delete it, and then our crafting station will just know at that point that you have now collected that item. So if you're building a raft, for example, you see that plank of wood on the ground, upon interaction with it, it would just destroy that piece, but it would give you some form of marker to let you know that piece has been collected, right? So if you pick up a wood plank, it will just destroy that wood plank in the game world, but we'll keep track of it in a script somewhere saying it has been collected. So that when you go into the crafting menu, instead of having this like inventory slot and having to like drag and drop these tile pieces or whatever, it would already know that you've collected that. So I was thinking we could implement that by using, I was trying to see if we got a better marker, but I don't think we do. We can implement that by having a second camera inside of our game. And that second camera would just be looking somewhere kind of off screen, probably maybe under a train or something like that. And that view would just be in 3D space when you're picking up a piece of wood or something to build the raft, right? Instead of destroying that piece, we could just teleport it to this area, right? This area, so we got our piece of wood floating out in space, or floating in, just laying down on the ground. We pick that up, it's going to move it from this location to this other location, probably underneath the train. Probably keep it in some kind of nice organized fashion. And then so if we go to our crafting table, or wherever it is that we're deciding that's where our crafting is going to take place, then when we click on it, it'll just turn on this camera. And this camera will kind of take over, and then it'll be like a 3D sort of interactive area that we can add and build in that spot, right? So we'd have our shadow box, right? So we'd have our raft. So this is kind of what we were talking about for our crafting, is we would have a raft sort of outline, or whatever object we're building. We'd have sort of an outline for it, and then we'll drag this piece over, and it'll kind of line up. We can drag and drop it, and we can do different textures that way too, and we can make the player feel like they're building this raft out of the pieces they're collecting instead of these predefined pieces that have just been placed in the world. So what do you guys think about that for a kind of different approach to a crafting?
So you find an item, you click on it, and then it will delete it and put it into the camera view or whatever, and then in the camera view you can edit it and make your raft.
Yeah. So exactly. You're gonna click it. It'll move it. It'll probably be just a new area under the train or somewhere kind of off screen, more or less. And then you'll click on that, and then it'll move it down to this place. And then you won't be able to move this piece outside of whatever this view is. If you go to the edge, it'll just snap, and it'll say like you just won't be able to move it any farther. But that way, we're crafting in sort of like a real 3D environment versus like a GUI 2D environment. That sounds cool?
Does it automatically, whenever you collect an item, does it automatically switch to that scene? Or
No, I was thinking we would have What's that?
Like a button or something you click and then take it?
Well, I was thinking we'd have a crafting table. And you would go to that crafting table, and it would be, and you would interact with that crafting table, and then that would switch your cameras at that point. And then you'd have like, and so maybe this is the crafting camera, and then down in the little corner we'd have like a little exit button, and then you click that exit button, and then it would bring you back to the normal view, or like a go back button, or something like that.
So is that, like when you start the game, that crafting table is gonna be there already? Okay.
Or we could build it.
Maybe you can't
Construct
see how to build or even what to build until you have the blueprint of the item itself.
Yeah, maybe the crafting table, right? Maybe we have this little table, and it has like, it's just blank, and maybe there's this little slot here that's empty, and it looks like a piece of paper or something should go there. So then the user looks at it. Maybe they can click on the crafting table, and the camera will kind of like zoom over the top of it, and we'll see this blank spot here. And then maybe once you get a blueprint, or maybe there'll be some indicator that's like, it'll be like need blueprint, and it'll have like an arrow. Something will indicate to the player that they need to collect a
Or
blueprint
just
before
when
they
you
can build it.
activate that item, it could just simply say in text, like a error on your screen, just to allow them to know you cannot use the crafting table until you've found a blueprint.
Yeah.
Simple enough. You'd expect that in any game to play. Just like, hello.
It seems like you should be able to see it, but just like you don't have anything to work with, you know? Like everything's blank, like you don't have any blueprints, then you can't make any, obviously, but
Right.
it seems like you should be able to see the crafting table.
Well, say you run out of the world and you haven't found your blueprint, but you have found like 3 other pieces. You can go to the crafting table and move those around on the crafting table as much as you want. It's just never going to make anything unless you're doing it over the top of the.
So I think that one of the ways we could really handle that well is by using our kind of shadow piece, or however we want to call it. I mean, I guess this is what we'll call it. It's just going to basically be the outline of the object that we're going to be building, right? So we'll have an outline of a raft that we can drag and drop over. And that outline won't exist until you pick up a blueprint. And maybe the second you pick up the blueprint, that's when you're able to actually interact with and like kind of drag and drop, and things will start snapping to it. We can handle it that way. I think that'd probably be pretty solid. Sound good? Okay, so I was thinking we could maybe do a little bit of that, a little implementing of that today. I wanted to do something in Blender at some point, just because I told you guys we would, and I think that's something that we're all going to need to know how to do. But let's see if we can just kind of.
Yeah, sorry I forgot about this Monday.
That's okay. So maybe we could throw our crafting table somewhere near this guy.
Yeah.
Maybe inside of it.
I'm gonna get a shot or something.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, this is just our practice world, right? So this isn't going to be a real, actual level that people are going to be playing in. But this is good for testing and for us to set stuff up.
So you think our crafting table should be inside whatever hut is on that island?
Not necessarily. I'm just for now. I mean, I think that we can keep everything kind of collected. I'm just going to, just going to scale this thing out a little bit, so maybe it looks sort of like a table, maybe. Call it our crafting table. Oh, it's on a big hill. Well, okay, I guess I'm gonna put it in there. Just put it right outside. And now we can add a script onto this crafting table that will allow us to find the pieces. So let's make a script real quick. We'll call it raft craft.
You're a funny guy.
Full of jokes. Oh, let's change the scene also. Let's go into mono here. All right, so what we're gonna need to do is we're gonna have a couple public game objects that we're gonna take and we're gonna drag and drop our raft pieces in. plank. This will have 4 planks. Probably be about right for a raft. Uh-oh. Alright, let's just save this for now. Let's hop back into Unity. We can click on our crafting table now. And our raft script, and we have these 4 public game objects. We can drag and drop our pieces of our fake wood in. Plank, 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 okay. So what we're also going to do is we're going to set up this crafting view. We're going to need to, like I said, we're going to need to make this somewhere totally off the screen. So we're going to need to have a camera, first off. Call this our crafting camera. Move it down. Just move its orientation. Just so there's no way we'll ever be able to see the camera or be able to see what's in the camera, or see what the camera's rendering. Maybe create some empty game objects so we can have some, or I guess we won't even make them empty. We'll just make let's make a cube for now. Lots of cubes. We'll just make it a little bit bigger. This will just kind of be a location marker for where we're gonna be moving our planks to once we collect them. So we're gonna set up, I guess this is on our table, isn't it? So just trying to think of a way, that we're gonna interact with our wood pieces, and then we're gonna tell them to move. I'm trying to think. Maybe it would be better to put the scripts on the raft planks themselves instead of our crafting table. Well, I guess it's okay for now. So when we click on our plank, we need to send a message to our table and say we have collected a plank, right? So then we're going to go back into to one of our other scripts, our player scripts. Whichever script it was that we interacted with. I think it was in our walk around script. We control most of our characters' actions. Maybe not. There it is. Okay, now this is a script we did to interact with objects, right? Maybe it wasn't. I gotta remember. I remember where we did. how we are interacting with these objects. Zoner player. This cube. Item interaction. Okay. It's not in our scripts folder. Okay, so in this script, now we're going to have. So if we are interacting with an object, then if we click, right, so we'll have a new if statement where if mouse, or if input dot get button, get mouse down. I think it's 0. I could be wrong on that. We'll know here in a second. 0, I think 0 is just your left click. Then, once we interact with this object, then this is when we're going to send a message. We're going to need to find our crafting table. We're going to send a message to our crafting table, and we're going to tell it to move the object around on the crafting table, I guess. Or maybe not. Maybe it'll be better if we. I mean, what do you guys think? What do you guys think we should go? I don't know. What do you guys think? Any suggestions here?
It kind of seems like maybe you should just tell the plank to move itself to the table. Or maybe just like save its information, delete it, and then port it to the table.
And reinstantiated that table.
Yeah. Something like
Yeah,
that.
probably the easiest way to do it.
All right. What if we took this? Well, oh yeah, because it's not the table. We're actually sending it to this area down here. So what we probably could do is we could take some empty objects. We could probably take 4 empty objects and put it on this table, and then, or not on the table, but in the crafting area. It's just, I feel like we're just bogging this down a little bit. So we're going to interact with the object here. Right, this is going to be, right in here we're going to want to move objects down.
Should you like create, like every single object that you would move to the table, create them there but not instantiate it? And then when you interact with the plank, tell it to instantiate. So it's not like you're moving it there, you're just saying, we found this one object, make it visible on the table, and make it not visible in the world.
Enabling it and re-enabling it, depending on where you are. Is that kind of what you're
like
thinking?
For all the objects that you will need, they're there in the table or in the area, but they're not visible. They're not created.
Okay, no, we could do that. We could just have another set of planks down below,
Yeah,
right?
I guess.
We'll call this, we'll call them crafting planks. Crafting. Alright, let's grab its local axes and bring it down. Just so you guys know, we're recording, and everything you're saying is getting picked up on the mic. Okay. Okay, so we'll move these planks down. I think we want to access our camera. I don't think is even going to render these planks at this point. So what we can probably do is we can take this our craft area, take this and crafting plank. At least close to each other so we can manipulate them together. It's really tiny. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. It might be easier to see. That's what I was originally trying to do. What we could probably do is change the perspective of this field of view, to make it more visible. I mean, I had it a little bit closer, but I just didn't like the way that was looking.
Yeah.
Alright, so now we're going to have these crafting planks. And then we're going to have to link them up to our... we can turn off their particles. They don't need particle systems. So nothing to do.
So what you're doing is you're deleting the ones up top, and then you're gaining, like, you can see those after it. So they're already there, but you can't see them until you delete the one up top.
They're going to be here in existence, but what we're going to do is we can either we can hit this little checkbox here, and this is just called, we can access that checkbox in scripting by using whatever this game object is, .enable equals true or false. And that'll change this checkbox.
Okay, so they're there, it's just, okay, gotcha.
So we can disable them that way, or we can also go in and just take off their mesh renderer so you can't see them.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. But what we're going to need to do, like I said, is we're going to need to link up each of these crafting planks to their respective...
One's about.
Yeah, exactly. Which will be great for crafting our rafts, but really only our raft. And we're not going to be able to use this. If we want to use the same system for everything, we'll just have to have more or less the same setup, but we'll have to change it every single time. But it's okay. We can access that hurdle when we get there. Let's just try and get this implemented. I don't want to make a script for every individual plank, but
Well, do we have to link them? And they could be linked sort of metaphorically, just think, when you click on,
once you get one,
yeah, just like in the script, we know that if you find like plank 1 in the world, then plank 1 in the crafting world becomes visible. You know?
okay, yeah, we could probably do that. So let's go into our crafting table script, right? And so we'll have, these are our 4 planks that are inside of our game world right now. So we need to have a way that either if they're destroyed or if they are moved. That's okay, actually. What we can do is we can just do the same thing, and we'll just have we'll have references to our crafting planks. Now what we can say is if our raft plank is null, then enable our craft plank. I don't know if I can just call null like this. We'll see. I might have to use like GameObject dot not in existence anymore. No, we can get its renderer, I guess. All right. Let's see if it's okay with null, or it's gonna tell me I can't do that. Okay, so we seem good there. So now for item matter interaction, if we press down, now we can just do, we can call destroy C dot game object. Because C is going to be our interactable object that we have in space. So if we destroy that, then this RAFCraft will be checking constantly. If it is destroyed, then we'll see if it's enabled. Alright, let's see if this works. This will be cool if it does.
Oh, you're still on.
Oh yeah, thank you. So let's grab these RAF planks. First thing we should do is we'll disable their mesh renderers, because those are the things that we're enabling. And we need to go to our crafting table up here. And we just need to fill it in here, like so. And now let's put our character right next to, I guess he is already. Let's put him right next to this plank. And let's see if I'm clicking it. We'll check the scene view and we'll see. Well, first let's see if it even destroys it. Oh, I have it on camera. Turned on to turn that off for now. Okay, maybe it's not mouse button 0. I'll try 1. Maybe it is 0 and the scripting's wrong. No, because we're saying on trigger enter, right? So once this is enabled,
Okay, insert.
yeah. Let's just try doing a debug. Alright, so it's not getting the mouse button down. See if we can just use get mouse button. See if it does anything different. Let's take a second. Alright, so now if we pause it and we look down here. Alright, so
Sweet.
it's there. So it's working as intended. It's not a bug, it's a feature. So now, that's good. That's good news. So now what we could probably do is make it just a little bit cleaner, right? We can make an array, just game objects. Blank. And this is the public array. We can access it a lot easier in here and do run for loop. Size, length. Alright, so now this will shoot through all of them. I need to set up my other array. I guess we could probably even do this all within the same, but same array, but that's okay. It'll be a little cleaner and easier to do this way. Now I have our craft plank array, and our raft plank, and they're each of size 4. Plank 1, plank 2, plank 3. So we can even do this even more smart if we want. By instead of having to drag and drop these and making them public, we can put these in folders and we can instantiate them by, or we can reference them directly by the folder location. But this is a lot easier to have it set up from a visual concept, in my opinion at least. All right, so let's see if that still works. No, doesn't want to grab that for some reason. That's not where it's happening. Let's try moving it a little bit. It's really finicky with this trying to use this mouse button for some reason. Maybe make it just a little more up and out there. No. Let me make sure I'm accessing this right. Alright, mouse button 0. I don't know why it's not. Might need to restart. Just might be acting all weird.
You have it in an array now. I mean, maybe when you destroy it, it's not really destroyed because it's still in the array.
Yeah, but we would be at least getting this debug.
Oh.
We're not getting the debug statement, so it's something to do. I mean, see, the particle system is turning on, so we know that this line's executing, but the debug log is not. So it's got to be something to do with this mouse.
What's
So we're
input?
familiar with this.
What's that?
Nothing, I was trying to figure out where input is coming from.
Oh, input is just Unity's built-in input methods. You can access it here by going to the project settings
Okay.
into input, and this will
So
allow
this
us
is
to.
theirs, okay.
But mouse is in here by default. It's not even. Maybe it's a part of mouse XY. I don't think it actually is though. This is just. That's too bad because it worked so well there for a second.
Sometimes.
Maybe you need to exit and come back.
There you go.
Did you just hold it? Is that what
I
it is?
held it and I probably just hit it at just the right angle. So it's definitely a bug that we're gonna need to fix at some point. But, you know, just like everything else, like our swimming, you know, and our camera, all of that stuff. None of them worked the first try. You know, I mean, it'll get better through iteration. That's the main idea. All right, so now let's try picking up multiple objects and seeing if our crafting. It should though, right? I mean, in theory, right, guys? Oh, maybe it's playing a factor into it.
Does it just take a second to get deleted maybe?
I don't know. Maybe it could be.
Okay, so it does just open.
That one didn't. It's just.
Exactly.
It's about where it's placed, I guarantee. But now let's see if they're both down there. They should be. They are. They're not really in the right order. What we can do is we'll be able to do a check for that. And so they are, or we could just leave it unordered. That'd be fine. So now what else we'll have down here is, on whichever side we decide, on however we want to have it laid out, we'll have, once the blueprint's been collected, all of these pieces will exist here. But they're mesh rendered, like how we have it textured, will just be a transparent texture, so you can just see right through it, and it'll look like it's an empty kind of shadow-looking piece. When in all reality, it's not. So I think that's what I'm going to do in Unity today for the most part. So we'll leave that for a second. I'll be right back. I'm going to run to use the bathroom, and then we'll go over some last little stuff.
What's up? Should I do top minus bottom plus 1 here? Or EGF value? Like, she said we could just say N there, right?
Huh?
I don't know if she said we could just say N there.
What?
The runtime of this is N, which is. But maybe I should ask her, because in the seminar it goes top minus bottom plus 1. Are you doing somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. How do I do it? See, sure, yeah, or must I catch it, probably lose it. No, I'm just okay, I'll just stay out there. So you can get it worse. No, I was going to get across. This one. Yeah, somewhere. Did you get it? Online?
I'm back. Woo! Okay. So this is working as intended, which is good. That's important. One thing I think we should do, though, before we're totally done, and I'm going to add real quick, is this guy. When we click on this, when we interact with this, I want it to switch cameras. So let's go ahead and tag this. We'll add a new tag to our crafting table and just call it crafting table. And now in our interact script, all right, we can look for that. Table doesn't have a particle system, so we won't worry about that. So now if we interact with the crafting table, we'll switch cameras. So we'll need to have a reference to both of these cameras. Main camera. Craft camera. And now this should allow us to switch between them. All right, we'll just say main camera. I'm hoping dot enabled. Okay, equals false. I hope this works. This is totally just hoping here. And I'm going to say craft camera dot enabled equals true. Now when we click on it, I'm hoping that we can go to the craft view. We're not going to be able to have any way of coming back from the craft view other than just exiting out of the game at this point. That's okay. Gotta make sure that this tag is set up correctly. Now let's try it out. Let's pick up that. Okay, that wasn't bad. A little faster that time. Okay, now let's walk over to our crafting table. Now let's click it and let's hope that it switches. We'll see.
Did you call it craft?
Oh, it was not assigned. That's why I forgot to assign the actual. Forgot to assign the actual cameras in that one script. So let's hop back into our item interaction script, which is on our players. Item interaction little box, and we got to throw these cameras in here. So there's our main camera. It's on our player, following him around, and our crafting camera is down below. And it is currently disabled. which I think that's good. I think we'll want it to be disabled because we are enabling it. Right? Yep. Okay. Now let's hop back into Unity and let's run it. Let's see if this works. Now I gotta go through the long process of picking up. Oh, that was super fast. Wow. He's figuring it out. All right, guys. He's starting to understand how to pick up wood.
It's learning.
Yeah, he's so smart. Proud of him. All right, so now we click. Oh, okay. Well, didn't exactly do what we wanted. I'm wondering though. It's probably because of the fog. I think that it's just staring at the fog right now. So let's disable the fog and let's unpause it. No, maybe it's not the fog.
Is there a light source that's getting to it?
Oh, maybe not. Or this camera is just not actually getting enabled. That's really what's happening. Okay. Well, it should be showing that, right? Might need to say. Might need to enable more than just the camera's view. I gotta remember how to turn on the actual game object itself. And I don't remember how to turn it on. But basically, before we go to this camera, we're gonna need to turn on the camera. Or upon start, we're gonna have to say, when we very first load up the game, we're gonna have to enable our main camera. We'll see if this works. All right, so we're just going to we're basically putting in the same things, these two public objects to access these cameras. Uh-oh. I hope it's saved. No, did it not do that? Okay, give me 1 second here. Reopen that script. Alright, now it should be there. Our player. Go over to cameras, let's throw them on. Main camera and our craft camera. Now immediately upon loading the screen, okay, just turn off our craft camera. See, it says there's 2 audio listeners in the scene, even though there's really not. Well, there really is, but that's because there's 2 different cameras going on right now. But now it should, let's see, this should do it. This is the last thing we're gonna have to do today. So if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and that's that. We can actually click it. Come on. There you go. Got it. Okay, well that's good. It works now. That's exactly what we want. So now we'll have a little button down here in the corner. It's going to allow us to click to exit. So what we're going to do next is we're going to have to, and this is, we won't be able to get it done today, but we'll have this thing called the, well basically we are going to make a raycast that's going to go from our mouse position directly downward. So that will be, so that way we'll, if we hover over something, we'll know we're hovering over it. And then that way we'll be able to click on something and then attach that thing's position to our mouse's position in 2D coordinates. And we'll be able to drag it around from here. And then we'll have our shadow box or shadow box of a raft in this area. And that'll allow us to drag and drop onto that box and eventually build our raft. Sound good? All right, I think that we got, that's a very first stepping blocks of our crafting system. That's good, that's what we need it to be. All right guys, we'll end the stream here. And I guess I'll do it for this week. Hope you guys, we see you guys all back here on Monday. I know that you're not gonna be here, that's okay. I'll forgive you this time.
Okay.
All right guys, thanks again for watching and like and subscribe and we'll